In this video, I want to discuss 7 red flag issues, 7 potential problems that could interfere with your fiancé visa petition. If you're here, it's because you're thinking about getting married. You're thinking about getting married to someone that lives in another country. You're thinking about bringing that person to the United States. And your feeling is that, look, it's a legitimate relationship. We really plan to get married. So how could there be any problems? Well, there could be. The government looks at these cases very carefully because of the potential for fraud. You might recall a few years ago the terrorist shooting in San Bernardino, California, where some of the terrorists actually had come in through a fiancé visa. The government, of course, since then has been extra careful in scrutinizing such applications. And I had individuals just last week where one couple barely spoke each other's language. He barely spoke her language. She barely spoke his language. Well, that could cause problems. At an interview, you might think, well, it shouldn't, but it could. Then, of course, I had another case, an individual called, and the woman was significantly older than the person that she wanted to immigrate. And, of course, again, I had to note, look, that could be a red flag. So before I go through this series of red flags, let me quickly outline them for you so you know what I'm going to discuss. First, relationship and engagement. Second, immigration history. Your immigration history, her immigration history, his immigration history. Third, culture, commonality. Are there any cultural differences? What do they have in common? What are their differences? Fourth, marriage history of both parties. Fifth, supporting evidence. Everything needs to be supported with concrete evidence. Six, family and friends. What do you know about each other's background, about each other's family members, about each other's friends? Who has been met? Seventh, after marriage issues. We're going to go over each one of these issues now in detail. Red flag number 1, your relationship, your engagement. Can you prove that this is a bona fide relationship? That is really what the fiancé visa process is all about. They want to read out fraudulent attempts. So they're going to be looking at, when did you meet the person you fell in love with? How often have you been in contact with this person? How many times did you physically visit with this person? Did you actually come in physical contact? Not to say that someone that meets online couldn't be a legitimate relationship. It very well could be, but the proof is going to be harder. And the less physical contact you have, and the less time that you spend together in a relationship, the greater the red flag for the government. You have to prove that this is a bona fide relationship. So be careful about that. The second thing is immigration history. For instance, if you've been involved in, let's say you've had 2 or 3 divorces, and one or even both of your previous spouses were from another country and you tried to immigrate them. Well, they're going to be looking at that. They're going to be looking at that because they might be thinking that, hey, the previous divorces weren't real. Maybe they were a little fraudulent. Maybe you were paid to bring them into the country. Or on the other hand, your fiancé in the country abroad, have they been married? Have they been the beneficiary of a previous fiancé visa petition? Have they perhaps come in and out of the United States and overstayed their visa? Have they ever been denied entry to the United States? Those are issues that are definitely going to be looked at during the fiancé visa process, and that will probably be questioned of the immigrant's spouse or the immigrant's soon-to-be spouse at their fiancé visa interview. The third item is culture, or as some folks say, commonality. Are you, say, 2 different religions? How big is the age gap? Is there a racial difference? Is there an ethnic difference? Are you, say, even, let's say you're the petitioner is highly educated, has advanced degrees in college, and the immigrant soon-to-be spouse is not educated, speaks very little English, has 2 or 3 children from a previous relationship. They're going to be looking at that to see if that's a real relationship, if that's a legitimate relationship. And so you have to be prepared for that. The less commonality you have, does the person speak English from another country, or do you speak their native language? Those are issues you're going to have to be aware of when it comes to culture. And marriage history, I mentioned that when I was talking about immigration history. If you've been previously married, or if your fiance has been previously married, and they also have filed immigration petitions that fail for one reason or another, they're going to be looking at that. You certainly want to make sure that when you decide to file papers to bring in your fiance, that you know what papers they have filed, if they have ever filed immigration papers, if they have ever entered the United States. Those are issues that you have to raise. Of course, if you met in the United States, that's another story. You know they've been in the U.S. But then again, did they fulfill the terms of their tourist visa or their student visa? In other words, did they leave on time? The 5th red flag is supporting evidence. Can you support the relationship? If you visited your fiance in his or home country, do you have hotel receipts? Do you have plane receipts? Did you guys go to restaurants? Did you spend time together going to a movie or some cultural event? Did you spend time at family functions? Do you have photos? Did you meet your fiance's family? Or if, on the other hand, your fiance came to the United States, you have photos of introducing your fiance to your family, to your parents, to your brothers and sisters, to your friends, to your coworkers? Do you have proof of their receipts here in the United States? That's the type of supporting evidence that can be real critical in these types of cases, and that you definitely want to provide the government. Which takes us into the 6th area, family and friends. Do you know your fiance's friends? Do you know your fiance's family? Does your fiance know your family and your friends over here? What do they know about your work history? What do you know about their work history? What do you know about their life over there, and who they hang out with and what they do daily? And what do they know about you? What do they do during the day? Who do they live with? Who do they hang out with? Who do they work with? Who are their family? Who are their friends? You want to know that. And those are really, really important issues. Now, where this could become a real issue in some cases is take a same-sex situation marriage, where the marriage is 2 individuals of the same sex. Now, in some cultures, that's taboo, so it's kept very secret. You don't share that. In that case, there may not be a lot of evidence on family and friends, because the immigrant spouse is sort of hiding that information. That could also be if an immigrant spouse, say, is a younger female and they're marrying an older male in the United States, or vice versa, older female, younger male, and they're not too keen on the age difference, and so they sort of hide it. Well, the government's going to look very harshly on that, because it's like, well, what tells us that you're a real couple? What tells us that you share things together, that you're going to share your life together, that this is a legitimate marriage, despite the age differences? That's red flag number 6. And then after marriage, what are your plans after marriage? What do you know about your fiance? Again, what does your fiance know about you? Again, what type of job do you have? And what are your career goals? Has your fiance, has she attended or he attended college in their home country? Do they have career goals when they get to the United States? Do they understand English, or are they going to take classes here to improve their English so that they can contribute to their education, to the household expenses by getting a better paying job? What are you going to do after marriage? What's the plan? Are your fiance going to move in with you to the United States? Are you going to move out of your current, say, one bedroom apartment to a bigger place? What's your plans? Share those plans. Document those plans. And if you have friends, have them documented too. Anyway, these are just some of the red flags that you should be looking for when you're seeking to bring in a person that you love through a fiance visa. There is no set formula of what you should provide, but these are basics. These are like common sense factors. If you're really going to marry this person, you really love this person, these are things that you would likely know. And because your relationship is legitimate, it's just a matter of staking your claim and becoming super prepared and preparing the documentation correctly, and then filing your papers. With that, I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for watching. Know someone who might be interested in this video? Then please take a moment to like and share it with them. Also, if you would like more videos on immigration, just click on the subscribe button. And here's a little bonus, a short guide that you can download for free by clicking on the link on the description box or the square-shaped image. Plus, if you have ideas for videos you'd like to see, write a short comment below, or feel free to contact me at carlos@BataraImmigrationLaw.com. My name is Carlos Batara. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll be talking again very, very soon.